Hello students, here in the today's lecture of design of machine element 1, we will discuss the design procedure of knuckle joint. We will discuss here how to design a knuckle joint, what are the different parts of the knuckle joints are there, and how to find out the dimensions of all these parts. So first we will discuss what is knuckle joint. The knuckle joint look like this. There are three parts in the knuckle joint. First is nothing but eye. Here left side eye portion is there. Then fork. Eye section is to be inserted here in the fork. And third part is the pin. Pin is to be inserted in between to connect that eye and fork in that holes. Right. So this is what complete assembly of the knuckle joint. Here you can see the cut sectional view, and here is the top view of that knuckle joint. So you can see the dimensions here in this section. So dimensions are nothing but, I will explain some dimensions. There's C, capital D is the diameter of rod. That also we need to design that to rod A and rod B are to be connected with the help of this knuckle joint. So capital D is the diameter of rod. Capital D1 here is, you can see this is diameter enlarged section, enlarged diameter of rod or enlarged section of rod. That is nothing but the D1. You can see here this is nothing but the D1, and this rod is nothing but the D. So rod is subjected to the tensile force of P. The rod is subjected to tensile force of P at the both the ends, rod A and rod B. Here are the dimensions. Here you can see B is nothing but thickness of the eye. A is nothing but fork ends, thickness of fork end. Here is also A and here is also A. So two dimensions are the fork end. Then R, capital R is nothing but in the inner radius of the fork. Then D1 is enlarged diameter of pin, and small d is diameter of pin that is to be inserted to connect that fork and eye. And DO is nothing but outer diameter of fork or enlarged diameter of fork end. So all these dimensions we have to find out in the design process. So we will discuss, or we will start with the first problem statement, what is to be designed. So problem statement is like this. It is required to design a knuckle joint to connect two circular rods subjected to the axial tensile force of 15 kilonewton. As we discussed that knuckle joint is only used for transferring the axial loads. Right? So here 50 kilonewton load is to be transferred with the help of this knuckle joint. So design a joint and specify the dimension of it. We have to design the joint and we have to specify the dimension, complete diagram of the knuckle joint with the help of all these dimensions, and select suitable material for the part. That is the part of that design process. We have to select the proper material. So see, this total design procedure again is discussed or divided in number of parts. So we select the start with the part 1. Part 1 is the selection of material. For selection of material, some parameters to be considered. The first parameter is nothing but rod is subjected to the axial tensile force only. Only one force 50 kilonewton is there. So it is subjected to the tensile force. The knuckle is subjected to the knuckle joint. All these parts of the knuckle joint is subjected to the direct shear or bending stresses. These type of stresses will be developed, or tensile stresses. So these type of stresses will be developed in the component. So for the, it is simple component and it is not that much heavy duty load is acting on that component. So we will select the normal material for rod and all the components of knuckle joint. So we will select the plain carbon steel. That is a well-known material in the engineering field. So it is plain carbon steel of grade 30C8. That's it. The 30C8 is nothing but designation of steel. It is having SYD, yield strength in tension 400 Newton per mm square. So that is how we select the material, simple material for the all the components of knuckle joint. Then part 2 is nothing but selection of factor of safety. In the selection of factor of safety, we have to consider one part, that is nothing but the in the stress analysis of knuckle joint, the stress concentration due to slot is neglected. There are a slot for the pin to be inserted, that is circular slot is there, and due to that slot the stress is getting concentrated at the discontinuity, that is at the slot area. So here in the design we are neglecting the stress concentration because it is difficult to calculate all these exact value of stresses at that section. So we neglect the stress concentration, and due to that we have to select the higher factor of safety. So to account for this neglecting the stress concentration, we select the factor of safety as 5. Right? That factor of safety is we select same factor of safety for all these components, and we will design all the component here. And after selecting the material and the factor of safety, we will proceed further. That is part 3, the calculation of permissible stresses. To calculate permissible stresses, we have the material strength and we have the factor of safety. So in the calculation of permissible stresses, we have to consider these 2 points. It is further assumed that yield strength in compression is equal to yield strength in tension. Here we are assuming just yield strength in compression is equal to yield strength in tension. In practice, the compressive stress is much higher than the tensile strength. But here, for the simplification purpose, we are just assuming yield strength in compression is equal to yield strength in tension. So by this, we can calculate these 3 stresses. These are called as permissible stresses. So permissible tensile stress sigma T is SYT divided by factor of safety, that is equal to 400 divided by 5 factor of safety, and material is selected, yes, 400 Newton per mm square. So allowable tensile stress is 80 Newton per mm square. Similarly, compressive stress. So for the, it is assumed here yield strength in compression is equal to yield strength in tension. So SYT and SYC values are same. We are just assuming. So that's why sigma C is calculated same way, that is 80 Newton per mm square. And we know shear stress in tension, that is shear in yielding, that is equal to 0.5% of SYT, yield strength in tension. That is the empirical relation. So we have to select that 0.5% of SYT divided by factor of safety. By considering that, permissible stress test becomes 40 Newton per mm square. By this only we can calculate the permissible stresses. Right. Next step, part number 4, that is calculation of dimension. This is actual dimensions we need to calculate here in this step. So this part 4, calculation of dimension, is divided in number of steps. So we will proceed for the step 1. In this step 1, we have to calculate diameter of rods. You can see here this rod is there having diameter capital D, and enlarged diameter of rod is nothing but capital D1. So that how to calculate that diameter D? See, the rod is subjected to the only tensile stress. Here P is force, here P is force acting at the end. So rod is subjected to the only tensile load. So tensile, based on the tensile stress formula, we can calculate the diameter of rod, capital D. It is just sigma T is equal to force divided by pi by 4 D square, that is area, cross sectional area of that rod. So it is becoming in terms of D. It is just rearranging in terms of D. So D is equal to under root of this, all this term. We know all these values. P is nothing but load acting, that is 50 kilonewton, 50 into 10 raised to 3 Newton. And sigma T is nothing but permissible stress we calculated in previous step, that is 80 Newton per mm square. So by putting these values, I get the value of capital D is 28.21. So for selecting the standard value as 30 mm. So capital D is 30 mm. Similarly, capital D1 to be calculated in the step 2, enlarged diameter of rod D1, it is calculated by empirical relation. So here D1 is equal to 1.5 times capital D. So this D1 enlarged diameter is 1.1 times capital D, this diameter of rod. So it is simply a 33 mm, but the standard value is 35 mm. So we select the standard value. See, the standard values of diameters are given in the design data book. So we have to prefer this design data book for selection of that standard value. Instead of 28, we select 30. Instead of 33, we select 35 mm. So this is to be selected from the design data book. Right. So this is step number 1 and step number 2 to calculate diameter of rods. Next step number 3 is to be calculate these dimensions. This is also the empirical relation we have to use. A and B dimensions. A is nothing but thickness of this fork end, and B is nothing but thickness of eye. Right. So we have to calculate that A and B by simple empirical relations. A is nothing but 0.75 times D, and B is nothing but 1.25 times D. So by putting all these values here, capital D, we can get the value of 22. We are rounding up to the 25 mm, and 37.5 rounding up to the 40 mm. These are the values of A and B. You can see here what is A and what is B. Next step, to calculate diameter of pin. As we discussed, the diameter of pin is subjected to the direct shear as well as bending stress. So we have to calculate both the ways. So first we will select the diameter, calculate the diameter based on the shear failure. You can see here pin is getting sheared off like this, and there will be a double shear at this section, upper and lower section. So by simple shear stress formula, force per unit area, we calculate this value of diameter capital small d. So rearranging the term of the shear stress formula, capital D is under root of this value. So small d is 28.21. So it is, we are selecting, it is nothing but the 30 mm. Again, by the bending failure, we know we have derived this formula for the bending failure. So capital small d, the diameter of pin by the bending failure by this diagram is nothing but 38.79. It is again 40. So we have to select the diameter as a 40 mm, larger diameter among these two. G is 30 and by bending is 40. So we will select the diameter 40 mm. Step number 5, dimensions D0. Again, dimensions of D0 and D1 are to be selected by these empirical relations. D0 is nothing but, here you can see outer diameter, this one D0, and D1 is nothing but enlarged diameter of pin or pin head, it is called as. So these are 2D and 1.5D. So it is 80 mm and 60 mm. D0 is 80 and D1 is 60 mm. This is empirical relation we have to use. As we are using that empirical relations, we have to check whether we have selected that empirical relation, whether these are safe or not. So for checking purpose, we have to go for the step number 6, that is checking for I. Similarly, first we can check the tensile stress. So tensile stress in the I, that is, here you can see tensile stress formula. Sigma T is P divided by this cross sectional area. So B into DO minus D, that is 31.25, and our allowable tensile stress is 80. So our calculated tensile stress is less than permissible or allowable tensile stress, so it is safe under tension. Similarly, we have to check for crushing. So crushing stress formula, here you can see P divided by B into D by this diagram, force per unit area. So it is 31. Again, the compressive stress is 80, permissible stress is 80 Newton per mm square, so it is under the limit. Third, we have to check for the shear. Shear, you can see here diagram by the hatching line. So shear stress induced in the component, that I component, is nothing but force per unit area, this hatched area. So here 50 into 10 raised to 3 divided by this all these values, it is coming 31.25, and our permissible value is 40 Newton per mm square. So as it is less than the, all these values, calculated values of stresses are less than the permissible, so the design is safe for the I. Similarly, we have to check the design for the fork also. So whether these stresses induced in the fork are same or not. So in the design of fork or design of I, what is the difference between the stresses developed in the I and fork is nothing but, instead of this B, here in the I section we use dimension B. You can see here, I will show previously. Here all the parts in the, all the stresses dimension B is there. Here is B is there, and here B is there. So instead of B in tensile, crushing and shear stresses, for the calculation of stresses in the fork, instead of that B value, we have to put 2 times A, this one, A and A. So that's why we have to take 2 times A. So instead of B, we'll just take 2 times A. You can see here, this is 2 times A. Similarly, for crushing, there is a 2 times A into D, crushing stresses in D. So it is here also, instead of B, there will be 2 times A. That is the only difference in fork and I. So by putting all these values, sigma T value is 25, sigma C value is again 25, shear stress value is also the 25. So as these, all these values are less than the allowable stresses, 80, 80 and 40 Newton per mm square. That's why all these components and all the we assumed values of all these empirical used empirical relations are within the limit. So this is nothing but the design of I and fork. So at the end, we have to draw the all the components, or we have to show the manufacturing drawing of that. So this is dimensional sketch of the knuckle joint. So this is nothing but the knuckle. Here instead of quarter, we just consider this is nothing but the knuckle joint, right? So we can see the dimensions are nothing but 25, 40, diameter is 80 mm, enlarged diameter 35, smaller diameter 30, and pin diameter. All these are here only. So this is nothing but the dimension sketch of knuckle joint. Okay, thank you.